A very good morning to you and welcome to K24 this morning. It is that time when we usually have interactive, but today we're going to have it a little bit different as we have our discussion coming in earlier on, because later on we shall be having some very important live broadcasts that will be taking place from 10 o'clock. So kindly bear with us as we bring our social hour discussion at this particular minute. Speaking of which, today we will be talking about money and finance as it is Tuesday, and what we want to focus on is better financial decisions in 2021. Now in 2020 things were absolutely rough. I know everyone has suffered in one way or another. However, there are individuals and businesses that were doing much better during this particular pandemic, and they sort of cashed in, for lack of a better word. Joining me today to help me have this conversation is none other than financial analyst and founder MoneyWise, Rina Hicks. Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Then we also have the virtual CFO consultant. Hii jina ndio nimesikia mara ya kwanza, but interesting name there, or rather interesting title, virtual CFO consultant. You tell us what that is all about. But welcome to the show, Mary Ndinda. How are you doing?
Thank you so much for having me.
So
I'm doing so well.
Yes, yes you are, because we were having a conversation with you earlier on and you told me 2021 has been rough on some people, but on others it has been absolutely good. But before we get to that, virtual CFO consultant, what is that?
This having a CFO who's not like in your office.
And a CFO is a
Chief Finance Officer.
Okay.
So it's receiving the suit kind of advisory that KPMG and Safaricom receive, but now to SMEs and startups. Because it's very expensive actually to afford a full-time CFO.
Okay.
Extremely expensive for such kind of businesses. So we came in and started the virtual CFO where we just mentor and help them grow, just make the right financial decisions in cash flow, financial modeling, forecasting, everything around their finances.
Right.
At least to ensure they thrive in their business, yes.
And is it a team of people, Ama? You're the CFO of all these
No,
companies?
we are a group of people. It's not only me. We have a couple of executors also. People who've been there in the market, tried and tested. Finance managers who've been CFOs before.
All right.
So coming together just to accelerate the growth of SMEs and the startups.
Okay.
Yes.
So if I need financial assistance or other consultation for my company, you come and you look at my books of accounts, alafu nasema sasa hapa hizi mandazi naona nuanga mingi sana, cut down on the mandazi. Hapa kwa mchele nini, like that's basically what you guys
yes,
do in
exactly.
a nutshell.
Yes, because exactly why most companies find it even hard like to thrive is because of the pricing. Some do not differentiate either to focus on the quantity, the quality, or the numbers or the margins.
Yes.
You can do volumes with small margins, or you can do high margin with small numbers. So they have to differentiate the two, what makes money for them.
Okay, kwa nyumba yangu, I think we are spending too much on oil. I think you need to come and tell us how you're doing.
Quantify and break down everything.
Yes. Okay, and of course, Rina Hicks, CEO, MoneyWise. What is MoneyWise all about?
Okay, so MoneyWise is a platform that I founded in 2016. And it's a platform really to help people become unstuck where their finances are concerned.
Unstuck?
Unstuck, because sometimes you get stuck.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people are in a perpetual state of stress and anxiety because of money.
Yes.
And, you know, I realized it. I've been in the financial services space for a very long time. I'm a director at FIDA Investment Bank. And in my service to people, I have advised many people. I have worked with so many customers as we've tried to find great investment opportunities for them.
Right.
But as we've done that, over the years, I realized a lot of people don't think about their finances in totality. It's, you know, my cousin so-and-so heard that there's this company that's doing an IPO, or there's this SACCO that's raising money, or there's these guys who are going to give us double our money within the next 3 months. So those are the guys I'm going to invest
multi-level marketing individuals, conmen, Ponzi schemes and all that.
Yes. So people just invest, not because they have thought about it from a holistic perspective where their finances and their circumstances are concerned, but because they heard it's a good idea, they want to grow their money quickly, and so they get caught up in all of that. And so MoneyWise comes to educate and to provide content that is helpful. So we have a book, we have coaching, we also have, you know, one-on-one consulting, and a program that we've been working on investing and how to evaluate different investment opportunities.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, good stuff. This is a point where I will involve our audience to let us know what they think about this particular situation and this conversation indeed. And our question of the day is, what are some of the bad financial decisions you made this year? What are some of the bad financial decisions you made this year? Let us know. Did you buy a new car? Did you buy a new phone that you didn't really need? Did you buy a new home or a new house? Did you rent a bigger apartment that you honestly did not need? Did you get pregnant? For example, You know, getting pregnant has got financial implications, yeah? There's the whole going to clinics, and I mean, it involves money. Unless you're one of those traditional guys, you just pregnant, unangojea 9 months uzae.
Guys stocked because of COVID, so they
Yeah.
bought so many stuff, which maybe most of them went bad. They were stocking because they were told, oh, we're going to for a lockdown, oh,
Yes.
you'll not be moving. So people stocked and stocked and stocked, only to realize it's not happening. We had to stay with this thing.
Because that's where I was heading with the conversation. What do you think are some of the bad financial decisions Kenyans made? Overstocking is one of them. People overbought things that they do not need. Tissue being one of them. I don't know why they needed it. You know, it was very weird. People sold off things because they were moving back, you know, maybe to shags. I don't know. What do you think, from your perspective as a CFO, what are some of the bad decisions that guys made financially?
I think, let me first start with businesses. A lot of businesses sent their guys home only to realize they could have taken advantage of this situation and made business out of it. Like sent guys home, put them like on working from home or remote working model. But some just shut and they're like, oh, we don't know what's going to happen, so they lost revenue. So it was a bad decision for most organizations. And they've not been able to come back after such kind of a decision.
Yeah.
Because how do you come back and tell people, you know what, I'm still having my products, my services still exist. People have been in the market and they've been selling their products while you're sleeping and saying, oh my God, I don't want to go out, I don't want to engage with anyone, you know.
Yeah.
Personally, I think people overstocked. They just bought things they didn't want to do. Some like the way I was saying, like shopping. You
Yes.
bought and bought and bought, thinking, oh my God, we're not even going to go out. Lockdown is coming. We don't know
Yeah.
what to do. Send money to guys in Ushago just to cushion themselves.
There are guys who bought fuel and put it in their home.
Exactly, just
You know,
to
they
realize
bring-
this situation is there with us to stay. So
Yeah.
just to find ways of mitigating and like living with it because it's here, it's our normal life like now. So they spend, now they don't have money. They're like, oh my God, I wish I didn't buy, I didn't send that money to
Yeah.
my grandmother to just stay with the money just in case something happens.
Yeah.
So I think those are some of the decisions that people made that actually they could have just sat back, took a deep breath,
Right.
and made now the right decision.
Yeah. And Rina, looking at what she has said, people were in a panic mode, especially when, and you were telling me, for instance, in your company, some changes had to be made because when the president announced some of the, regulations and measures that the country had to take to mitigate the situation, companies had to restructure, individuals had to restructure.
Yes.
Some of them were good, some of them absolutely bad. Yeah. What would you say about that?
So some of the restructuring that happened was, okay, let me say from an individual perspective, and then I'll go to companies.
Right.
For individuals who were given what you call redundancy packages, a lot of them, some decided I'm going to pay off all my debt so that I get rid of all of that and then I can carry on with my life. But you see now the problem there has been that they were not sure how long it was going to take them to be able to get an income coming through again. So that was mistake number one. Another one people made was, okay, I need to find a way to get an income. I don't have an income right now. I've panicked, so let me just stay away from all my people who I owe money.
Yes.
And so run away from banks, run away from all the SACCOs and hide as I try and figure myself out, and then I'll come back. That's a huge mistake because what happens then, you get reported to the CRB, which means then you can't borrow until you've completely repaid your loans. You're not able to renegotiate and you get into a lot of trouble. Auctions and things like that then happen. And then you just get very frustrated.
Yeah.
For companies, I think what I would have liked to see more of, if possible, is to sort of give people a softer landing. A lot of people have lost jobs. Actually, I remember reading somewhere that about 1.2 or so million people lost jobs as a result of COVID in Kenya. And the reality is, even when I looked back 2 years back,
Yes.
there were thousands and thousands of people that were being laid off. And so COVID came and completely also just increased at a level higher. And I find that if companies can find a way, even now, because we have companies that are still struggling. Only just yesterday we had about a huge hotel that made a decision to completely close down. If companies can try and find a way to interact with employees and see how can we survive this thing, let's find a new business that we can do together. Because
So if we were a hotel, we start selling charcoal?
So I know, right?
We start hawking our furniture?
How can we change what we're doing? Maybe we can sell huge assets, but how can we change what we're offering? And we start thinking about it early, not when we've run out of money, we've spent everything that we've had, but try and foresee. I remember doing a video 2 years ago that said, Kenya, we are going to get into a recession. because these are the
this
signs.
is 2 years ago.
2 years ago, it was
Before
September
pandemic.
2018, before the pandemic. The pandemic just exacerbated something that was already happening. Yes, it was a surprise. Yes, it was a global crisis. But as a nation, we were already in an economic challenging situation ourselves. And the reality is, now we are today. So let's not talk about the past. What happens going forward? I think the reality is, guys, we are in a recession right now, and it might take us a couple of years to recover. It might take us 2 years, it might take us 3 years. Why? We're going into a possible referendum, we're going into an election season. So then what should I be doing now as a company, as an individual, so that I ride through this wave, so that I can survive? You know, that's the conversation we need to have, so that people don't end up feeling so depressed and overwhelmed by the situation that they find themselves in. I think for people like those, one of the things that they need to do is look at where am I right now? What do I have in my hands? I've been fired, I have been let go. What can I do? What gift and talent do I have that can serve a need that currently exists in my situation, in my community, around me? So, for example, you've had people going into farming or becoming a broker. Because they live somewhere where there are no shops around them, and it's difficult for people to access vegetables and fruits and have to go far to the market. So people like those have actually gone into a situation where they're buying fruits and vegetables from farms and delivering around their neighborhood and being able to make some kind of an income. Others have opened their boots, put the vegetables in the car,
and eggs.
And eggs.
People are selling eggs. I don't know where
rice and
chicken are just laying eggs.
You know?
I don't know.
And people pass by and they have so many customers because they are on the road. People don't have to go to Quick Mart and to Naivas and to all these other places to buy veggies and fruits, and they buy them literally every other day. So it's convenient, and you're on the way, and people buy. Just a small example. But what skill do you have? I love what she's doing. She noticed there's a need. And what is this need? Companies need a finance expert who understands strategy, who can help me make my company more efficient to succeed in this environment that I am in. But I can't afford to pay $1 million or 800,000, the kind of salaries these guys need a month. I'm a startup, or I've been here for 5 years. How can I find somebody who I can employ, who can help me? And she came with a solution.
And actually, let me just stop you there and come back to her, because you said that during COVID-19, wewe ndio umekuwa ukitengeneza pesa in Nairobi.
Exactly.
COVID millionaire.
So COVID millionaire, honestly.
When people were looking at this panic buying, for instance, others moved from their, apartments and probably moved to smaller ones. Others now started living with their clandes because sasa mimi siwezi afford rent kwangu, and so on and so forth. People like you saw a need, but it needs a special kind of person to notice that kind of opportunity. People were very nonchalant. They were like, kitu corona mtu moja itaisha. Before we knew it, we are counting people in the thousands. People are dying in the tens of, What opportunities do you think people missed, especially at the beginning of the pandemic?
I think for businesses, let me just start with that. We missed to see the opportunity in the pandemic.
Okay,
because every crisis.
Hold on, we have a Joshua on the phone. Sorry about that. Joshua, good morning. Hello, Joshua.
Yes.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm here.
Mimi niko salama, umepotea sana.
Mbuvi sijapotea.
Yes.
Kwanza last week nilisikia mkiuliza kama Joshua anatizama Interactive.
Yes.
Mimi nakuaga ndani sana.
Awesome. So,
yes.
What
that
is
said, I think on our topic of today, I think Mbuvi this year has taught us that when it comes to financial plans and management and decisions, I think sometimes you really have to let things just slide. Unakaa hapo unapanga mipango yako, but unaachia Mungu na mazingira idictate hiyo mambo ingine, because sometimes you have your good plans in order, then perhaps something just comes up. So but I think we are hoping that 2021 will be a good year, and that's why today I called to take this opportunity to wish the entire Interactive crew a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you very much.
Together with the entire Media Max fraternity.
Asante.
Let's meet next year. Let's stay safe and good time.
But before I let you go, Joshua, let me ask you, in 2020, did you make any, financial decisions that you actually regret?
Well, at the beginning of the year, I did, because I had very high hopes for this year. So I did some random investments that I thought will probably give back.
Yes.
But then they were all scattered by the COVID pandemic.
Okay, pole sana.
So maybe going forward, I'll be more careful. and I won't have to put all my eggs in one basket.
Asante sana, Joshua.
Thank you.
Let's also check our WhatsApp. I understand we have a few of you saying something. Hello, Movie. Maxwell from Kitengela. I have been spending money on my ex that I now feel I should have saved. That is a wrong financial decision. Pole sana, Maxwell.
At least he's looking after the ex. Maybe it's an ex-wife.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it's an ex-wife.
Let's see what this other one is saying. I actually moved to a big apartment after our names had been confirmed for contract renewal and promotion at my workplace, and also to challenge myself to work harder. For some reason, this did not happen, and I've been hit quite hard. Could borrow some financial advice from your panelists. Thank you very much. As much as hujatuambia jina yako, lakini tunashukuru sana. Yeah, I mean, it could be that he's taking care of an ex-wife. But ukiona hapo amesema ex
bila kusema wife
hapo kuna shida. But you're saying something before we get to respond to our viewers.
Yes. So when COVID hit, we realized like people, like businesses do not need their normal accountants. Like accountant will just come, do your data entry and go. But as a business person, do you even understand your finances? Do you even understand what it clearly means to run that business? Do you understand the dynamics, pricing, accounts receivable, payables, cash flow, budgeting, all that? So that's why I came in and I said, you know what? It's very, for someone to get that kind of an expertise to come and sit in with you even for an hour.
Right.
It's quite, you'll have to pay an arm and a leg. So I said, why don't I just subsidize and go to those SMEs that have potential in growth and just assist them?
Yes.
Because they need that advice, and if they don't get it, they're going to close down. So that's how I came in.
Okay.
Just to start, accelerate their growth.
Okay.
Look where they have gaps, fill the gaps in policies, procedures.
And do you feel like this will continue past the pandemic once everything normalizes?
It will be the norm.
It
will be the norm as we go on, yes.
Yeah.
Because people have realized they need to cut down on cost on every corner of their business.
Okay.
They need to cut costs. So if I can afford a CFO at 100,000, why would I pay 700,000? I mean, I'm still going to get the same quality of work, same expertise, same advisory. So I think it's going to go till infinity.
Yes.
Yes.
I know we've laughed about that gentleman who said that he's taking care of his ex, but it could actually be a legit situation where he is taking care of the mother of his children, for instance. And you see now, COVID-19 came, of course, with its own challenges. Probably now he has to go deeper into their pocket. What would you tell someone who had such a responsibility, and not just an ex, the people who are taking care of their parents, grandparents, and so on and so on? They have people who are depending on them.
Yeah.
And the pandemic came and hit them, and now, Sasa Manzejo, things are looking hard. How would you advise them?
Yeah, I think the first thing that people need to do going forward is to make sure they have money saved up that then can take care of their needs. So what happens is that we tend to just live day to day, don't know what our needs are, don't know what the future expenses are likely to be. And so, you know, your brother comes, I need money for this, but the cousin comes, oh, so-and-so is in hospital, or, you know, black tax. And so you end up having to pay towards this and the other, and you spend money without really thinking why, because you have this job that consistently brings in an income.
Right.
Now, the reality is that income is not guaranteed, as we have seen. You know, something could happen and we don't work out. So the first thing, number one, is people have to save and have an emergency fund in place that covers at least 6 months of your expenses. So what are those expenses for you? All of us will have different expenses sitting here. You know, you might have 200,000 as your expenses that include a relative or a dependent that you're supporting. And that's okay. I mean, there's situations such as those where you have a child out of wedlock and you can't just ignore them. You have to pay for their school fees and they're your responsibility.
Right.
And that's acceptable, except that you need to plan for it. The thing that happens is that we don't plan, we don't take into consideration all the different expenses we have. And so we're constantly being caught by surprise. I mean, even weddings, what are we doing having committees to raise money? It's not a surprise. You knew a wedding is coming. You knew that child is coming. You had 9 months to plan. So please, excuse me, plan for it, save the money, and then...
So wait, Rina, you're the very few Kenyans, or maybe majority of Kenyans,
Yes.
who believe hakuna haja ya committee.
Ya nini? I mean, unless it's surprise, okay? If it is a surprise, no mess. Yani, you are caught unaware.
How is a wedding a surprise?
How is a wedding?
Exactly.
You can plan the
It
wedding
can-
a year in the future. Why are you bringing me into your crisis that you nataka kufanya harusi na 2 million and then you're putting me in a committee to give you money? That is no.
Then why are you my
Plan
friend?
for 2021, guys.
2021,
Well,
no
my
wedding
friend,
committees.
let me tell you how I'll be your friend.
Yes.
Let me tell you how I will be your friend. I will help you
Yes.
by asking you to please plan.
Yes.
You see this thing how we do, what are they called?
Rorashio.
showers.
No. Like when the year is coming to an end, we have
Christmas party.
resolutions,
Oh,
New Year's
yeah.
resolutions.
Yes,
And
yes.
somebody says, I want to lose weight, or I want to have a wedding. I want to. No. We need to be very specific.
Yes.
What are those expenses I will need to incur in 2021? Write them down to the shilling and start working towards them. So whatever your circumstance is, plan. Number one. Number two, get out of debt so that then you're able to ensure that your plans continue to happen and they take place as they should. And debt can really, really frustrate you. So for him, I'd say it's okay. Just plan for it and look for money. Look for an income source that can take care of those needs that you have so that then you're not in that situation where you get up into a
But Mary, a wedding is an important occasion. For the why are you laughing? Okay, why are you pushing it away?
Because it's like, it's not that you woke up and you realize I need to marry tomorrow and I have to do it.
But
you dated, been in a
men
relationship.
get pressure from women to marry them. Like, if you love me, you always say.
So is that...
And then your parents, especially mothers, they tell you, "Sasa nitaka bila mjukuu." And you have friends such as Rina. You have friends like yourself who made money in 2020. So I tell you, hiyo kidogo nisambazie nifanye harusi. Is that such a bad financial decision?
For men, I think there's no one who's holding a gun into your head and saying you need to marry like now.
Clearly,
and
you don't know
make
the
a
women of
big
Nairobi.
wedding. It's all your choices. It's all a decision you have to make.
Right.
And you need to live within your means. If you can only afford 100,000 wedding, that's all you need to do. Because if you teach me, I can go out of the way and do a 2 million wedding. Even in future, I'll be expecting you to pull those strings for me. And me, I don't care. I want to see things happening. So if you don't set it right now, it will never be right even in the future.
So in bad decisions then that people made in 2021, even marrying the wrong person, it might be in passing, but I mean, it is a big deal. Getting pregnant in 2020 when you do not have money, when you've just been declared redundant by your company, that could be also a situation you need to, monitor and evaluate yourself on.
Exactly. I think every situation, everything you find yourself into, you need to find a way to come out of it or make the right decisions. I've seen a lot of people, you start with the budget instead of starting with the strategy. You need to know where do you want to go. Do you want the short-term goals, long-term goals, and plan around them. Don't start, now I have the money, let me plan. No. Plan first, then look for that money to actualize those goals.
All right, we take a short break right now, ladies. But when we return, let us know some of those bad financial decisions you made in 2020 and some of the lessons you've learned going into 2021, what you will do differently, like Joshua from Kirinyaga had told us. Did you get pregnant? Did you get someone pregnant? Let's talk about that. We'll be right back.